Booktube. My name is Elizabeth. Welcome or welcome back to my channel, Book as in Books, and welcome back to my little room, my little regular filming place, the place where I read. The chair's like on the left, you don't see it in this particular frame. The shelves are a bit empty, so things are not entirely back to normal. The renovations are still not done. They are, I've been told today that there's a chance they could be finished tomorrow. Crossing my fingers, because when it started, it was supposed to be finished in the third week of February. How's that going? I'm so tired. I'm so tired of the renovations. And the worst is that it's not really finished. It's finished with this contractor. After that, I will still have the painting of the walls and the ceiling because there's been patching. And this particular contractor was a bit expensive on the painting side. So I decided to go with someone else, except that I haven't chosen the someone else yet. So yeah, and I don't want to take my books out of their boxes before the painting is done. So for that reason, it's going to remain a little bit like this, a little bit minimalist for a few more weeks in all likelihood. Though if I cannot get anyone to paint before the summer, I'll take the books out and then I'll take them back and put them back in boxes. But anyway, I'll figure it out when I get there. So at the moment, I'm just happy to be filming a video in my regular location. And my video is just going to be a regular video. I haven't filmed any of them since the beginning. No, maybe I filmed one. I think I filmed one since the beginning of the year, just to tell you what I want to read and what I'm currently reading. There are so many readathons in March, and I want to participate in a whole bunch of them. And the way I'm going to do that is that I'm going to participate in some overtly. So I'm going to tell you, I'm reading this book for this readathon, and for some of them, it's going to be a bit more covertly. The reason being that one of the events that I'm participating in is the Booktube prize. Now, you probably know, if it's not the first time you're watching my videos, that I absolutely love the Booktube prize, and I've been a judge for 3 years now. It's my third year, my fourth year, since I started Booktube, basically. I started in 2021, so 2021, 2022, 2023, and now, yeah, it's my fourth year. And I'm judging Group F. I still have 2 books to read. At the end of February, I had read 3 books, and I read 1, and now I still have 2, not quite 2. There's one that's like 150 pages in. It's like 1/3, 1/4, a bit more than a quarter, like 1/3 in. So yeah, I still have almost 2 full books to read, which for me is not good. But anyway, the group that I'm reading is Group F. And some of the books in this group fit so well with some readathons that you don't know it, but I know it, and I am participating in some readathons. For example, there is the Fierce Reads readathon hosted by Julie from The Hungry Bookworm, Shelley Swearingen, Sandy from Miss Reads a Lot, and Kristen from Enter the Books. And this readathon is about reading fierce women, so books written by fierce women. And here's the thing I noticed about my group in the Booktube prize. All the books have been written by women. I think it's the first time this happens to me, that all the books in the group that I have to read, have been written by women. And I don't think, by the way, it happened that I had to read 6 books written by men. I don't think that happened either. So the fact that 6 books have been written by women, I think it's something. So that's sort of one readathon covered, though of course I'm not telling you which books I haven't read yet, because I don't want to give too many indications. So there's at least 2 books, and in the month of March, there's also another book before that. So that's 3 books in March that fit that readathon. On the same theme, or a similar theme, there's the Herstoryathon, hosted by Charlotte from Courtney Reads and Brittany from Literarily Smitten. They are inviting us to read about women in history. So either nonfiction about women who lived in the past, or historical fiction featuring women who actually existed. Now, in my group, there's a few books that fit that theme. There are in fact 2 books that fit that theme. There's Wifedom by Amy Funder. I hope I'm getting this right. Who wrote a biography of the wife of George Orwell. And there's also The Exceptions by forgot the name of the author, which is about women scientists, which is about Nancy Hopkins in particular, and other women scientists, and how they were discriminated against by MIT in not that far away, all the way up until the 1990s. yeah, so it fits the theme of women who marked history. So that's another one that I'm covering sort of covertly. Now there's a third readathon that I am covering perhaps maybe covertly, because if I have read the book in February, it doesn't count, but if I've read the book in March, it does. It would be There's No Place Like Rome. There are several hosts for that readathon, and for some reason I forgot to write it down. I can see the face of the person in my mind, but I cannot think of the name of their channel, so I'm just not going to say anything, and I'm just going to list all the hosts in the description box below. Oh, by the way, and I'm listing all the other hosts that I've mentioned and linking to the announcements and things like that. So There's No Place Like Rome. That's a readathon that is covering both March and April, and it's about reading books about Rome, that wonderful city in Italy. Now, in my group of nonfiction for the Booktube Prize, there is Emperor of Rome by Mary Beard. So maybe I haven't read that one in February, and maybe I'm reading it for this readathon also. Who knows? So that's sort of my covert way of covering readathons. Like I said, I don't want to give too many indications. I don't want to tell you which books I have read or not, but it's books in my group that fit for the readathon. And by the way, a few weeks ago in February, I think, the Women's Prize announced its long list for its first nonfiction award. And 2 of the books in their long list are in my group, in Group F. So that's Wifedom, that I've already mentioned, and also Eve. The subtitle is rather long, by Bohannon, and this one is about the evolution of humankind but viewed through women, so not through men, so really the evolution of women throughout history, throughout more than history, it's more like prehistory. So it's 2 books that are in my group for the Women's Nonfiction Prize. Women's Prize for Nonfiction, the first one. So I'm very curious to see what the shortlist will be. And also, I think I have read some other books in that list. I know that there's Thunderclap that I read last year by Laura Cummings, which is also in the long list. And I thought there was another one. I forgot about it. But anyway, so I'm very curious to see what the shortlist will be. And perhaps I'll read the shortlist. Perhaps I'll try to read the entire shortlist if I have some already read. If all the books that I've read are not on the shortlist, I'm not reading the shortlist. But if some of the books that I have read are on the shortlist and I just have like 2 or 3 left to read, I may try to read the entire shortlist. Who knows? Anyway, so that's for the books that I cannot really talk about. Now the books that I can talk about. I mentioned the There's No Place Like Rome readathon. Well, I'm also reading something else for that. I've started this one. It is In Other Words by Jhumpa Lahiri. This is an American author. She has written novels in English, and for some reason she has a passion for the Italian language, to the point that she decides to move to Rome with her family. And this is her memoir of her experience of learning Italian and of living in Rome, and basically her experience with the language. And the thing that is great about this book is that on one side you have the Italian original, and on the other side the English translation, which is by Anne Goldstein. And the author explains why she did not want to do the translation, because she wanted to keep the 2 languages separate, and she didn't want, if she was translating in English her own Italian, she would probably be tempted to write the English better than her Italian is, and then she would probably try to upgrade the Italian to have it match the English. And she didn't want to do that. She just wanted to write in Italian the way it came to her. And I have to say that so far, I haven't read that. Well, I'm at page 88, but that means that I've read like 40 pages because I'm just reading the page in English. I don't read Italian. At first, I tried to read a little bit the Italian. I could understand the first sentence. And I thought, my God, I can understand Italian. And then I kept reading a little bit and I thought, no, I don't understand Italian. So it's close to French, but not that close. So I'll keep reading the English side. And so far, it's very interesting. The way she talks about Italian is very much the way that I feel with English, in that it's so difficult. Though I believe I'm much more advanced in English than she is in Italian at the point where she's starting the book. Because she talks about her very first beginnings, and then her moving to Rome, and then having difficulty understanding people. And I have no difficulty understanding people in English. Then again, depends on the accents. I'm pretty sure there's some local accents in let's say the UK or India. I probably would have difficulty understanding them, but it's not like in the United States and Canada, no problem at all. I can understand pretty much anything. So it's not, I'm more advanced, but I understand this difficulty and this feeling of not being entirely comfortable. I am so much more comfortable in French. I have so many more tools in French to express myself. In French, I'll always find the word that I mean to say. She's not saying that in the book, something that I've thought, but there comes a point where you, at least in my case, I think I have so much vocabulary that I cannot have a thought in French that I cannot express. I always have the words to express it. I have to say, I'm working as a translator, reviser. That means that all day long, I make sentences, I look for words, I try to find the best words and the best sentence. So I have really a professional level of formulating sentences in French. So that means I really have a lot of resources. And in English, I don't have that. I do have quite a bit of vocabulary. I read a lot in English. I understand it very well, but it's not the same level as French. So I can understand this difficulty, and I can understand this passion for language, and it makes me want to learn Italian. So I don't know if I'm going to follow the There's No Place Like Rome Readathon with reading a book about like teach yourself Italian, lesson 1. that could be fun. And if I don't have time to finish this book in March, I can continue it in April because the readathon is covering 2 months. And also in April, there's this little readathon called People April, hosted by myself and Roz from Skelly Dandling About the Books, which is all about nonfiction, biography, autobiography, memoirs, any book about life writing, specific lives. So that can be a nice choice also for April. So there's that possibility. Next event that I want to participate in, well, I've started, so I am participating in it because that's the criteria. It is March of the Mammoth. That one is hosted by Jason from Old Blues Chapter and Verse. And for this one, we are invited to start, not to finish, to start a book that is at least 800 pages long. And just before I think the announcements was made, or just before the first weekend before March, I think, I was in a used bookstore and I found this. So this is Taiko by Eiji Yoshikawa. This is a Japanese author from the 20th century who specializes in historical novels, but like of large scale. And it doesn't look like it, but the pages are thin. So this one is well over 900 pages. It is 921 pages. Just the story, just text. So far, I am at page 48. And this is the story of a historical character, Hideyoshi. I suppose either you already know a little bit about medieval Japan and the beginning of the Tokugawa shogunate. And this is just before the Tokugawa shogunate. It's like there were like 3 strong men before well, not two before the shogun and then the shogun. And this is the story of the one man before the shogun. So it's going to be interesting. It already is. We are at page 48 and it's going to be a sort of a swashbuckling adventure. If you read Shogun by James Clavell, I'm pretty sure that you would like a lot this author Yoshikawa. So by him, I've read only one other book, which is Musashi, which is a huge tome. And yeah, this one is about a different period. It's a bit before the period covered by Musashi, and it's also a little bit before. Is it before at the same time than Shogun? At the moment I am before, but I think throughout the book at some point I'll reach the point where the action of Shogun starts at some point, I think. So anyway, so that I don't think I'm going to finish it before the end of March, because as I said, I still have almost 2 books to read left. 2 books left to read for the Booktube prize, so I'm not going to have enough time to read 900 pages, almost 900 pages left with that. So it's going to be, but it's my choice for March of the Mammoth. Now, the other big event in March is, of course, March Mystery Madness. And for that, the hosts. This was the brainchild of Lizzie Faye Loves Books, and there are a ton of other hosts. I'm not going to name them all. I'm just going to leave a link to Lizzie's channel in the description box, because I think my description box is going to run out of place because there's a limit of characters in there. So there's so many readathons. I'm going to there's not going to be enough place in that description box. So for March Mystery Madness, all you have to do is to read one mystery, and I've already started. In fact, I started these two. Both of them are historical mysteries. So this one is The Death of Achilles by Boris Akunin. So it's translated from the Russian, and it is set at the end of the 19th century. So I think in the 1870s or 1880s, I think. I think it's 1880s, and this one is set in Moscow. So there's a famous general who just died in mysterious circumstances. Now, of course, the authorities sort of kind of want to hush it up, but at the same time, they want to know the truth, which is always a little bit the situation in Tsarist Russia. For the public, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Nothing to see. Just keep walking. Things are normal. But underneath, they want to know. There's something afoot. They want to know. So that's the one that I've started. So far, it's very good. I am at page 100. Very exactly 100. So this one is very good. And this one is in French and not translated in English. However, I have talked several times about this series. So this is in French called a bandeau. That's a band that is placed around the book, and they are trying to sell you the book with that little band that goes like this. And apparently these ones can be, they are placed there manually. So there are people paid to put that little band around the book like this. And this says, Nicolas Le Floch is back. So he's back. Why was he gone? He was gone because the original author died. So the first book in the series is called The Apprentice of the Châtelet, or The Châtelet Apprentice, by Jean-François Parrot, which is not the name of the author here. And the author died in 2018, so 6 years ago now. And at the time I thought, well, that's it. The character's dead. The series is dead, and I never paid attention to it. I never looked for it again because I love the series so much. Whenever there was a new book coming out, well, I would wait for it to come out in paperback, in mass market paperback format, but I would read them as they came out in order. And so when the last one was published, I read it and I thought, well, that's it. That's the last one. We'll never going to know the end, because what is particular in that series that our main character, our detective, is growing old. Each book is set like 2 years apart approximately, and we start in the last years of the reign of Louis XV. And the intention of the original author was to bring his character all the way through the French Revolution, and he intended to stop at the beginning of Napoleon's empire. Or I think he didn't want to touch Napoleon or something like that. So he had a plan for his character to cover 50 years of French history. The last book written by the original author was set in January or February of 1789, just before the French Revolution, and then the author died. And now the character is back with a new author. So I didn't know if I could trust the author or not. So I'm going to read the first book to see. So far, there's already 3 that's been published. This one was published in 2021, and I just didn't see it. I'm not necessarily reading newsletters and the literary news of what comes out, so I missed that he was back. And I found it out because of March Mystery Madness. I wanted to know which one was the 9th in the series so that I could reread that one. And when I typed like Nicolas Le Floch in order, I saw that there were more books. Wait a minute, there's not 17 books in that series. The author died at 14. And yeah, there are 3 more books published since. So I'm going to try the first one. I've read the first chapter, and of course I'm a bit wary. It's a beloved character, and I wasn't sure what the new author would do with it. And it started fine, and then there was dialogue, and then the dialogue was just so stiff. So stiff. It was a bit like a cold shower, so hopefully it's going to warm up with the book. Perhaps it's the author getting to know his characters, because in a way that these characters already exist in my mind, and I suppose the way that the new author writes them does not match these characters in my mind, though it matched when they were behaving without talking, you know, they doing this and doing that. But when they started talking to one another, that's Nicolas Le Floch and his what used to be his subordinate. Now Le Floch is kind of retired, and the subordinate is now the chief detective. They are having a conversation, and it's so stiff. It doesn't flow. So hopefully there's not too much dialogue in the book, or hopefully the author gets better at writing dialogue for these particular characters. I think that may be the problem. It's that these are characters that are living in my mind, so the fact that I'm seeing them written differently, perhaps it doesn't help. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm going to give the entire book a try, even if the dialogue remains stiff throughout, even if the book is bad throughout. I'm reading it throughout because I want to be sure whether I like it or not. And that's that. So that's the book that I'm reading for March Mystery Madness. Also for March Mystery Madness, well, actually, I was inspired by March Mystery Madness because I'm not reading much. I start stuff, but I finish nothing. So perhaps I thought I would enjoy it a bit more watching DVDs. So these are all mysteries, almost all of them based on books. Like not all of them. Like for example, this one, Broken Wood, that one is set in New Zealand. As far as I know, this is not based on a book. Then there's Death in Paradise. This one is set in the Caribbean. I don't know if it's based on a book or not. I think it was. I think it was based on a book, but it's not written on the box set of the DVD, and I did not search for it. I did not prepare for this video. Then there's Death on the Nile. This one is a movie, and this one is obviously based on a book. It's based on the Agatha Christie book of the same title. Then we have Doglish. I've read one book by P.D. James featuring this detective. It's the first one. It's Cover Her Face. I think it's the first one. And I have never seen any of the episodes in this series. Yeah, I should mention Broken Wood. I haven't seen season 8, but I've seen all the other episodes. Death in Paradise. I've seen the first 2 or 3 seasons. So the first one's where the detective is Richard Poole, and then the one season with his replacement. Because the detective gets replaced quite a few times over the seasons. I think this one is, I don't know, like the 10th season, season 9. Oh, season 9! It fits the theme of March Mystery Madness, season 9. Oh. See, it's not the 9th book, but it's the 9th DVD in the series. It's a 9th series. So I don't know who the detective is, and I don't care. It's murder mysteries. Who cares? And Death on the Nile, I haven't seen this particular adaptation, though I have seen the one with David Suchet, made for television. These ones, I think I've seen them all, with David Suchet playing a Poirot. I'm saying Suchet in French. I think he's not French at all. I think he's English, so that would be Suchet. Anyway, so Doglish, I haven't seen anything. Next one is Vera. This one is based on a book also. The author is Anne Cleves, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that one is written here. And that one is season 8. I've seen quite a few Veras, though not in order. Broken Wood, for some reason, I've seen them in order, because I think whenever they came out on television, I just watched them when they came up, and I ended up seeing them all. But Vera, I've seen a few once in a while, like I was catching one when it was on. But I don't think I've seen these ones. And the other one is in French. It's a French series. This is Captain Marlowe. This is not her regular dress. She normally dresses more like this. The hat, though, is a permanent fixture. And this one is also based on a book. It is based on the book by, I'm pretty sure the name was written, Elsa Marpeau. So, here. Elsa Marpeau. Oh, you can't see. Anyway, so this is based on my books, but I haven't read the books. Of all of these, the only book that I have read is Agatha Christie, Death on the Nile. Though I don't remember who did it. That's the thing with Agatha Christie. many of the characters are kind of similar. You have the heiress and you have the old maid, either bitter or not too bitter, and you have the widow, and you have, I don't know, anyway, they're all the same. Well, they're not all the same, but there are similarities from one book to another, and I end up not knowing who did what. So anyway, so a lot of television for me to watch. If it's too loud, I'm just going to cut it off. So all the DVDs are now on the floor. That's what just happened. And I think that's the signal for me to stop this video because I'm just rambling. It's been so long since I've made videos. I don't know how to do them anymore. So hopefully just after, well, not necessarily after, but not long after filming this, I'm going to start answering comments on my previous videos because I think since January, I haven't answered many comments and I want to answer comments. So I'm going to start doing that. Hopefully I'm not going to take a month before I answer the comments on this video. Hopefully, if the renovations can finish, that's going to be such a heavy weight off my shoulders and hopefully off my brain. I've never been in a situation like that. My brain is running on empty. I cannot concentrate. It's not that the renovations have kept me busy physically. It's just mentally. They just take all the place. They take all the room. I have... Yeah. Like this, I cannot make a sentence. I cannot make a real thought. I've lost my ability to focus. Not entirely, but I'm using it for work, so I don't have much left outside working hours. And even for work, they're not helping. They are not helping. Anyway, things are fine. Things are fine. Things are fine. And things will be fine. It's just that at the moment, my brain is just, Anyway, I'm wrapping this up. I'm spitting. I'm wrapping this up. Thank you everyone for watching. I will try to answer comments. So let me know what event you're participating in the month of March, and I will see you in the next video. À la prochaine.